What's going on, YouTube? I'm back bringing you guys another video. This one's a little different. I'm not going to be playing video games in this one. This is more of a personal video. And as you guys can see, the mustache is in full effect at the moment. Yes, it's beautiful. I know. You guys want to get a closer look at it? One sec. There it is up close in all of its righteous glory. Yes. Anyways, let's get into the new video. And my first ever tweets. One sec here. I will have to go to my Twitter feed and go all the way down and find out what my first ever tweet was. Oh, actually, I do remember what my first ever tweet was, and it was a tweet at LeBron James, and I believe that it said something along the lines of F you, or you're a choker, or Kobe's better, or something about his hairline. And you know, it's kind of funny how I would joke about another man's hairline back then, but that was back when I was just a young wee little boy who had no idea of what the future held for himself. So you know what they say, you know, don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. I think that definitely applies here. My first ever YouTube video. What was my first ever YouTube video? I'll have to go back and look. One sec. Yes. So here is my first ever YouTube video. And as you guys can see here, uploaded March 22nd, 2009. There's one comment from Andres Hernandez 7 years ago, and it says, "Man, you're good at this." Hey, thanks, Andres. I appreciate it, man. Here's the video. I'll play it. Yo, nice, man. That's kind of funny to me, actually. I used to think that I was so good at Halo back then, even though I really was not at all. You know, people told me I was, but back then, like, I actually thought that I was trash. Every single time I lost to anyone back then, I always just thought that that was like the be all and end all. Like, I always thought, like, it was weird. Back then when I played Halo, if someone had like OPR'd me or something, I would immediately think that they were better than me, even if I had like 20 more kills than them. It was strange, I know, but you know, it's weird how it changes. The first person I subscribed to on YouTube, I can't remember who it was, but it was if I remember correctly, it probably was like C-Nanners or maybe Nade Shot. I can't remember. MLG. Let me think. It was probably one of those three, if I remember correctly. Just something really like cliche and gamer-esque, you know. My first ever Facebook profile picture. One sec here, let me pull this up. Well, here it is. This is my first ever Facebook profile picture. No, that was not my headband, and no, that was not my hat. And to be honest with you, I don't even think that was my. No, that wasn't even my room. I didn't even have a webcam back then, so I went to my friend's house, and he had a webcam, so there it was. There's my first ever profile picture. Man, I used to think that I was so cool back then. I can't actually think. Man, I actually used to think that looked awesome. Do I still talk to my first love? No, I don't. Not at all. No, I don't. There's not really much to elaborate on. No, I don't. What was your first alcoholic drink? My first alcoholic drink was Bacardi rum apple flavor, if I believe, and I was in grade 9 at a party, and yeah, that was the first ever alcohol that I ever had. Other than, you know, obviously taking like a sip of my dad's beer when he left it on the table or something like that at like a barbecue, a family event. That doesn't count. Like, my first alcoholic drink was Bacardi apple. I think it was vodka. Yeah. What was my first job? My first job was doing maintenance for the company that I'm actually employed with now. Just doing maintenance, like cutting lawns, taking out garbage, just random odd jobs, you know, just getting dirty, just manual work, you know. That was my first ever job. What was my first car? My first car was an Acura EL. One sec. This was my first ever car. It was a 1999 Acura EL. It was a manual, and I had a big subwoofer in the back and an aftermarket stereo system that was worth more than the vehicle itself. I love this car. It had space for all of my friends. It actually had a really smooth ride, believe it or not. And you know, that thing, I never had one problem with it. I never changed the oil in it one time, and that's really cringy looking back on it. But you know, awesome car. Acura EL, fantastic. I love you. I miss you. Who was the first person to text me today? Let me think. That was my friend Devin. Yes, he texted me today. I think he was asking something about basketball, or he sent me a meme or something like that. Who was the first person you thought of this morning? The first person I thought of this morning was definitely... I think the first person I thought of this morning was my dad, actually. I went and saw him today. Who was my first teacher? Can't remember. Where did you go on your first ride on an airplane? I went to Vancouver. Who was your first best friend, and do you still talk? Who was my first best friend? Nope, we don't talk, but I still have him on Facebook. I have him on Twitter and Instagram, but no, we do not talk anymore. Sometimes we favored each other's tweets here and there, but no, I haven't talked to him since like 2002. Where was my first sleepover? My first sleepover was at my friend Joseph's house back in when I was in like grade 1. It was a birthday party sleepover, and if I remember correctly, the kid was really, really rich. He had like an arcade in his basement, and I slept underneath a pool table. He also had like this insane staircase in his house that was like a spiral, but like it was all made out of marble. It was absolutely disgusting. But yeah, that was my first sleepover. What was the first concert I ever went to? The first concert I ever went to was Seether. Yes, it was Seether, and the Cancer Bats played, and the Foo Fighters, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think it was Foo Fighters and Seether. I could be mistaken though. What was my first broken bone? I haven't broken a bone to this day. Knock on wood, hope it never happens, but no, I've never broken a bone. My first piercing. My first piercing was my ears. I don't have them pierced anymore. I used to have diamond studs. One day I just woke up in the morning and I just thought to myself, fuck this shit, this is gay. Why do I have this shit? I look stupid. And then I took them out and I never put them in ever again. It's funny, I wore them for like 2 years straight, woke up one morning, boom, out. What was the first foreign country that I've gone to? Mexico. Didn't enjoy it, never want to go back ever again. I don't like it at all. I'm not much of a drinker, so there's no reason for me to go to Mexico. I would much rather just go to Vancouver or Edmonton or just go to my freaking backyard. I don't like Mexico at all. I never want to go there ever again. The first movie I remember seeing, was probably The Lion King, Forrest Gump, Armageddon, Hercules, the Disney version, the animated Hercules movie. What else? Yeah, probably one of those. I can't remember what the first one actually was, but yeah. When was my first detention? My first detention was when I was in grade 6, I believe, and I think that I skipped class or didn't do homework or something. It was something really stupid, and yeah, that's no, I remember I peed in a garbage can when I was in grade 6 because my friends dared me to, and someone ended up ratting on me for some reason, and when the principal asked me about it, I just told them straight up. I was like, yeah, I did it. And they didn't even get mad at me, but they said I had a detention, so I had to spend the whole day in the principal's office. It wasn't even that bad, to be honest with you. What is the first thing you do when you get home? The first thing I do when I get home, I always go and say hello to my kitties. I say what up to my dogs. I will obviously turn on my computer, sit down at my computer. I always look at my router to see if the internet's on, and it usually is. Drink a glass of water, usually. But yeah, that's usually the first thing that I do. When was my first kiss? My first kiss was in 2008, and I was at a dance. and there was a girl smoking a joint or a cigarette. I can't remember. I think it was a joint. And she took a puff of the joints, and then she wanted to blow it into my mouth. So she blew it into my mouth, and then like I inhaled. This is really gross, by the way. Like I inhaled like and then it went into my lungs, and then she wanted to do it again, and then she did it again, and then we just started making out. That was in 2008. I was in grade 8. And you know, I don't do drugs or anything. I don't even, it was awesome. It was my first kiss. I remember it very clearly. But yeah, that was my first kiss. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you guys learned a little bit more about me, and thank you so much for watching.